I'm not quite getting the timing a bit later on in the track. I'm feeling lunch is required, so I'm going to take a break and see where I go from there. Morning everyone, welcome to the studio. Well, I hope it's morning. It's morning here in England. It's Martin from Meyer Records. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is working out in your recording studio. Today is a good one for me because I'm going to be laying down the drums in the shape of the Cajon. I hope you can see that in the camera. And I love the Cajon instrument mostly because it is small. It, for me, does the job. I love recording a drum kit as well, don't get me wrong, but the space here is limited. I have recorded drums here and it works, but it's just loud. It takes so much time for what I'm doing. And for the song that I'm recording, the Cajon is going to work perfectly. I use the Cajon on my own personal YouTube channel, which is Martin Van Der Sande. And here's how it sounds.
If you're in the way, then step aside. 2 weeks to go and she'll be a bride. Enjoy the ride.
So as you can see within a mix, it kind of feels right. You've got that percussion, you've got that low end, as long as you hear it on the right monitors, of course. You know, it's just fun to record. And yeah, I just recommend it. It's a good, fun instrument to play. But I'm going to go into the details now on how I record it for this song that we're doing, which is part 4 now on this little mini series. So thanks for tuning in. If you haven't seen the others, so far we've recorded a click track, a piano guide track, a vocal guide track. I've done the acoustic guitars as the main tracks, and then the piano, upright piano. I've done the bass guitar. And now it's time for the Cajon, and for me this is an exciting time because it gives the heartbeat to that, at the moment, pretty monotone click. So let's dive in. So if you're wondering what the Cajon is and you haven't seen one before, it is pretty much a box like this, and behind is a hole at the back. So the key here is that you have to think of it like a snare drum, like this, because you've got the snares kind of here, and when you play it you can get different tones depending on where you hit, of a sort of reminiscing a snare. On the back, however, when you hit lower under here, you get more of that bass coming out of in the sound hole here. And depending on how you play, how you mic, you get different tones. And the performer would, in this case moi, would just sit here and hear the music, or if you're with a band, and find the snare that you're wanting to get the sound of, and then find that particular bass you want to play as well. So then you could play a kind of a normal beat, excluding the hi-hat, which could be so it gives you that realness of a drum kit, and yeah, it's loads of fun. I can't wait to put this on the track. So let's mic it up. So I set out my recording now. So I put my Cajon kind of central into the room, and then place the microphones, one at the front, one at the back. Always very important, check your phase. I do this religiously now because the last thing you want is to have any issues with your sound due to that. So yeah, check your phase when you have more than one microphone going onto the same source. So tried and tested. At the moment, these are the microphones I prefer to use when I record the Cajon. Different days I hear different things, so I always recommend, as ever, always experiment with your microphone selection that you have. So what I've got is a Rode NT1A microphone, sort of pointed towards the snare part of the Cajon. And I opt for this particular microphone because it just has the whole room cover, and it just gives me a room mic, if you like, but also a close sound. I know it's weird, but it just gives me that tone anyway, and I'm really chuffed how that happens. I guess it just has a really overall wide response on the microphone. But I've had this Rode forever, and it is really a workhorse for me, and I'm sure you know it as well. I use this particular little foam cover mostly to keep the dust away from the microphone capsule, but also there is air that can sort of spread out from a drum, even from my hands, and I just try to eliminate that by the cover. And to be honest, I don't really need to increase the gain too much either, because it's just a very sensitive mic and it has a really good sound. So happy with that. I keep it around this sort of distance away from the Cajon head, so I can actually play without hitting the mic. And so far I haven't done that, which is good. And yeah, and that goes straight into my preamp, which is my 1073 as ever, into channel 1, into my DAW. I don't normally compress, believe it or not, when I go in, and I've never needed to with this. I set the level right and it just seems to work perfectly, and I can add all that later if I need to. But it always depends on what you're playing. On the back we've got an SM57, which is another workhorse microphone, right? It's a dynamic mic. It can take proper hard sound pressure levels, which is ideal, and I literally just place that around this sort of distance away from the sound hole, around 2 inches or so, and yeah, it does exactly what I need it to do. Gives me that low bottom end kick drum sound, and you know, just gives me everything that I want from a low end kick drum. I can't really put it any blunter than that, to be honest with you. I do compress this one on the way in. It has a lot more response going out into the microphone, so yeah, I just run 1176 light compression just to try and control those peaks. And you know, if it's the take and you did hit a bit harder, you'd be really upset with yourself if you didn't have that little bit of compression, especially on the kick drum on the Cajon. Now I will I'll set up the channels on my DAW and do a few test runs and see how I perform. So wish me luck, here we go. So I start recording and it's all going nicely. I do have to keep going back and forth. Performance wasn't the greatest on this particular session. Come on, this is the one, come on. Lost timing a little bit there. Let's have a listen back. Okay, so just coming off the camera microphone, we're sounding okay. I've got this going on at the moment. I hope you can hear what's going on there. It's pretty straightforward, right? But I'm not quite getting the timing a bit later on in the track. I'm feeling lunch is required, so I'm going to take a break and see where I go from there. But when I came back after a bit of a break and a change of clothes, I decided to try and record again. This happened and it all kind of worked out, and this is how it sounded. So yeah, happy with the results, had a listen back, and yeah, I'm just making this little recording now just to say goodbye, and thanks for watching. I will see you on the next video where we'll be laying down the vocals for this song. So I'm really chuffed so far. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support, guys. Take it easy. Bye for now.